from Saudi, and to anybody who's thinking it right now, no, I'm not the bastard, undisclosed son of Phil Lynott. I may have the afro, I may have the stash, but one thing I don't have is his luck with women. I'm very unlucky with women, and that's just the way it has been the entire time. Now, being from Saudi, I don't know, it's a plus, I guess, for being a comic, because one thing everybody is expecting you to do on stage is to be the most racist, prejudiced, and sexist prick they would have ever seen. It sounds bad, and yeah, it is bad all around, except here in Ireland, because it means that you'll fit in. And let's face it, if you're Irish, then you must be a racist, and if you're not racist for being Irish, then you must be a racist for being white. 2 words prove that. Number 1, political correctness. Number 2, xenophobia. Both are sad attempts of white people to justify their racism. How much of a racist cunt do you have to be to actually come up with these 2 words? Now, being from a country like Saudi Arabia, a lot of things are really different coming here to Ireland. I've been here for about 3 years, and I've noticed a lot of things are happening very different from where I come from. For example, the tolerance people have for their kids' behavior here. Where I come from, if you've done something wrong, you'll get a smack to the head. Here, you smack your parents, you shout at them, you're a brat, and you get rewarded for it. In fact, you actually have people to protect you from your own parents. You would get away here with slapping your own dad to the face in the middle of the street. I've seen it happen. While where I am, it's a fight for survival, just being polite. In my home, I'm a child of the 80s, and being a child of the 80s in a Saudi family, a traditional, very strict Saudi family, that meant you have to develop what we would consider a basic survival skill. And that's the ability to predict the future. You needed that for 2 things. A, in order to not get your ass whooped, and B, to know why you got your ass whooped whenever that happened, which was very often. Now, this is a typical day in the life of a Saudi kid, 4 or 5 years of age. His dad would come back from home, feeling miserable because of the boss. He's been going through shit from hell and back, trying to put food on the table, and he has to take it out on somebody. He can't do it to his boss and get fired. So who does he take it out on? His kids. Now, to put things in perspective, I was the eldest, and there were 2 girls after me, and one thing my dad never did is smack a girl. So it had to be me. So every day at like 2, 3 in the afternoon, my dad would come back home feeling all shit and everything, and I'd be in my room, and he would just go, "Hassan! Come here!" And here comes my goofy ass, "Yes, Dad!" And, and I'm just standing there, wobbling around, and trying to just praying to God I didn't end up with a concussion or anything like that. And he would be like, the first was for not being here before I call you. The second was for asking why the first was. And that, well, you already know why that is. Go back to your room. That was pretty much every day in my childhood life. Basically, making a mistake meant expecting 2 things. A, it would either be the dying theme song from Mario, followed by a or B, basically you standing there waiting for 2 famous words pretty much everybody from my generation know, finish him, followed by That was pretty much every day of my single damn life. Welcome everybody. That was just me taking abuse from my dad, if you're wondering what that was. And yeah, pretty much life was not easy. Here, a lot of people would just really take it with a grain of salt. Like, people can offer others advice about how to raise their own children. If you've ever had any problems with your kids, I've seen it happening on the street, you know, you're trying to deal with your children and you're being a little harsh or something, somebody would just walk up to you and go, that's no way to be, you know, raising your kids. You have to be more gentle to them, you know. Kids are fragile, they'll need counseling for the rest of their lives and all of that, and which is bullshit to me. Like, I've been dealing with domestic abuse for 20 years. I've never needed counseling, so seriously, a lot of bullshit. I used to get smacked to the head. The only punishment my brothers get is taking away their iPods. Bullshit. But yeah, anyway, that would happen here. If it would happen where I come from, if my dad was basically kicking the living crap out of me in public, in front of like 1 million people, and somebody would walk up to him and go, excuse me, sir, this is no way of raising your little kids. This is no way of disciplining them. My dad would just go, excuse me, who are you? And, well, I'm a famous psychologist. I've written a lot of books on how to raise your kids and all of that. And, yeah. How many kids did you have? None. I'm actually single. See, that's a problem. I'm really not quite sure I should be taking advice on how to raise my own kids from somebody who doesn't even obviously know how to make them to begin with. Are you sure you know where to aim? Would a show and tell lesson help? Maybe some demonstrations. You know, I've made 7. You know, I'm pretty sure my credentials speak to themselves. So, you know, yeah, no, none of that. You sure you're not interested? Well, okay, you have a nice day, sir. Go back home. Keep walking. That would be exactly what my dad would do. Not my dad only, but every dad where I come from. So yeah, things are very different here from the way they are there. But it got me to think, actually. All this crap that I've dealt with and that I've seen got me to think that it's actually a blessing in disguise not to have kids and to end up single these days. Not because parents are bad, but because kids are spoiled brats who really should be ass-whooped every now and then. I would know because I basically almost ripped off my brother's ears at one point. Something I shouldn't be saying here, most likely, but I'm putting it out there anyway. And I think in many cases a lot of guys will end up single these days because, seriously, who get women these days? I don't. There's a lot I don't seem to understand about women, and I think of myself as being an intelligent person, considering the amount of thick blokes walking down the street right now. Yeah, there's no shock there. But even with that, and I've been raised around, God knows, way too many women. Big family with women mostly. But, like, you know, there are things I cannot understand about women. Like, women's obsession with makeup is something I don't understand, to be honest. Like, some women take it too far, so far actually, that they make Mrs. Frankenstein look like the winner of a beauty pageant when standing next to them. I mean, seriously, but this is one of the reasons I guess I love Halloween. Because it's the only time in the year where women put on makeup to be as ugly on the outside as they are on the inside. Yeah, it's just a fitting day, I guess. nothing wrong with doing it every once in a while. And I guess that pretty much makes sure I'm going back home alone tonight. Thank you very much. My name is Qasim. You've been great.